it, right? So that's what we're going to be discussing today. How to write a really good cover letter and how to put together an amazing CV. Okay? So we'll start with the CV, and here I have like a sample CV that we'll just walk through. This, as usual, is an interactive class. If you're joining us online, feel free to ask questions. If you're here, feel free to ask questions as well. But what we'll do in terms of like the process is I will walk us through this CV, and then I'll walk us through a cover letter as well, and then you can get the key components of the whole thing, okay? So like, you all know what a CV is. I'm not gonna like define a CV, that's ridiculous. You know what that is. But the key thing that you're trying to pass across on your CV is, these are the list of things that I have done, and they are all amazing, okay? And they're not just all amazing, they're amazing and they're quantifiable. And that's what I'm showing you. And they all seem to align in some way to finance, okay? So that's essentially that's what you're saying on the CV or the resume. In terms of length, preferably try and keep it to 1 page. If your CV is getting to 3 pages, you are writing rubbish. Yeah. Remember when they used to joke about like exams and like they're like, oh, if you're asking for extra booklets, many times not because you know the answer, it's because you're just trying your luck, try write everything and everything. One of them will shall hit. Lecturer will find it and then will mark it correctly. So it's almost the same thing with CVs, right? Usually try and keep your CV to like one page. Max, if you're like amazing, 1.5 pages. But usually if you keep it to 1 page, you're fine, you'll hit all the key things. But what are those key things, right? In terms of structure, the first piece is it charging up now? Okay, in terms of structure, first thing is your name, obviously. First thing is your contact information, that's your name, your address, email, phone number, etc., etc. Next thing you want to talk about is your education, okay? Then after that, you're talking about your work experience, and then you're wrapping it up with a few skills, and maybe a small column on like other information that you think is relevant. So let's go through each of these sections one after the other. As you can see, this is a pretty good CV. It's quite dense, and it's like a page long. Yeah, name and John. Yeah, I can't zoom out, John, sorry. Like if you can't see, there's space here that you can sit on if you're half blind like me, so it's fine. I understand your pain, I feel it now. So let's go through each of the sections one piece after the other, right? So first thing obviously is the name. They need to know who you are, right? So put your name there. This person, true Nigerian, Temilola Saliu Nkechi, has names from every part of the country. And your contact information, so your address, your mobile number, and your email. This is where attention to detail matters a lot. Check, double check, and triple check that these pieces of contact information are correct, okay? So it makes no sense if you have an amazing CV and you write the wrong phone number or you write the wrong email address and the person can't contact you. Like it's just been a complete waste, okay? So one thing you need to be careful of. Yes, the other thing I also wanted to mention is regarding fonts of, fonts for the CV or the cover letter, the letter that you need to submit. In terms of fonts, please do not use Times New Roman. Do not use Comic Sans. You know Comic Sans, right? That one that's bending, that looks like they use for children's birthday parties. Don't use that. So try and stick to like pretty standard, very formal fonts. Usually you encourage people not to use Times New Roman because Times New Roman is like the default font on Microsoft Word. Most people feel that, oh, you use the default font because you couldn't even figure out how to change the font in Microsoft Word. You understand? So fonts that I suggest you can hardly ever go wrong with: Arial or Arial, I don't know, Calibri, you can't go wrong with that. Verdana, that's a pretty good font as well. But most times if you use Arial or Calibri, you're fine. So it's very common to use those fonts. So they're clean, they're simple, and they're professional. All right. So next thing you want to talk about is education. So each of the line items under, what's it called? In the CV are always put in what we call reverse chronological order. So reverse chronological order means that you're starting from the most recent and then you're working backwards. You understand? So the most recent thing that you're putting today, the most recent thing that you're doing now is the first thing that you put on your CV. So it goes the same way for like, you know, your education piece, the experience piece, etc., etc. So now under education, of course, at this point, most people are just, either you're just graduating or you're still in school. So the most recent thing that you'll be putting there would be school, right? So this person went to Obafemi University, has the date on the side, 05 to, you know, whatever. If you're still in that role or in that position, you can say like either till date, so and so say till date, or so and so dash present. Please do not put so and so date dash till date, right? It's a kind of like, this is kind of like to, right? So that's kind of like a tautology. So you're saying 2005 to till date. It doesn't really sound right. So you can put the date. Of course, add the date, add the school you went to, what you're studying. If you're still in school, feel free to put in view. That basically means that you're waiting to get that degree if you're still in that process. And then on your bullets, as I said, the CV is basically to show you off, right? Just want to show you off, right? I'm trying to remember some section. So the first bullet that you want to add are stuff like, the bullets you want to add are stuff like prizes, scholarships, like, you know, top of your class, that kind of thing. So if you're like either a first class candidate, you graduated with the first class or something like that, something like both, right? Make that the first bullet that you put there. You know, graduated top 5 in a class of, if you're in accounting in Ife, 500 people, something. How many people are in accounting Ife? Like, how many people are Ife here, accounting Ife? How many are like 1,000, I mean? 800, 600, 340, they've reduced the number. Back in my time, you guys used to be like 2,000. 10% of the school population was accounting. No, I'm just joking, it wasn't that crazy. So first thing would be like maybe like top 5 students in a class of like, you know, so and so, or top 2%, or like best graduating student, or etc. You get what I'm saying? Like that thing that sets you apart from the crowd, put that first. If it's a first class, so you're saying, you know, first class CGPA of so and so. If you're a 2-1, well, everyone here is more than a 2-1. I don't think there's anyone here with a 2-2, right? So if you're a 2-1, sorry. I'm sorry to make you feel bad, but just whatever. Yeah. So don't bother putting it. It's not sweet enough. Okay. So, but sorry, I know you worked hard for it. No vex. But like, you know, stuff like first classes and stuff. And then the next thing you want to talk about are like scholarships. So if you got like Chevron scholarship, mobile scholarship, you know, state scholarship for something, that sort of sets you apart. And then the next thing you want to add are like your courses. So think about the courses that you've taken that sort of align with what you're applying for. So let's say you're going for something in finance, maybe you took a course in like macroeconomics or like, you know, I don't know, psychology or something, right? So, or like if you're in accounting, financial accounting, blah, blah, blah. If you're in a non-finance related course, I'm pretty sure you might have taken an elective or one of your courses are kind of marginally similar. So for example, on my CV for this kind of thing, I think I took like principles of economics, like SOC, I think that was like SOC 101 or something like that. I can't remember what it was. But it was like one of these, it was like an elective course for other departments or something. No, if it's elective, that would be, it couldn't be, electives are not SOCs. I've forgotten anyway, like, yeah, whatever. So I took an elective in economics or something in school, so I put that on the list. And I think we had a compulsory course that we had to take from social sciences, which was like sort of economic related or something. So I put that on the list. So even if you're not in anything that's like economics or finance related, I'm pretty sure you would have done something in your class that's similar. Or you've done mathematics or something like that. Almost everybody does maths or something, especially if you're in the sciences, even the arts or the commercial parts in like the first year, right? So add those. So courses that are kind of similar to the role that you're applying for. And once you do that, you're done. The next thing you probably want to talk about would be professional courses. So let's say you're doing like the ACCAs or the ICANNs or whatever. You can take that as like school and then put that there under education as well. As usual, if you're working on it in view, right? And then follow the same pattern. Then the last thing you want to stop with is secondary school. Please don't go to primary school. Nobody cares, right? We don't care if you were food prefects in primary 4. That is like all long and gone. That ship has sailed. But at the minimum or like at the maximum, stop at like secondary school. The same process, the dates, etc., etc. School you went to, what the certification you ended up with, and it's the same thing, right? Like if you had distinctions in any subjects in your WAEC, you had school prizes, all those kind of things. If you get the pattern is basically what are those amazing things that I did in school that I want to show off, right? Everybody has at least one, minimum. At least in secondary school, everybody was a prefect. In a class of 200, there will be 195 prefects in that class. If you're one of the 5 people that were not prefects, yes, God help you. Right, okay, so that's it for the education component. The next thing, you can oh, awesome, thanks, man. So the next thing is work experience. Now, I need to sort of highlight this. If you're applying for BAMO, they like you to, so when they say work experience, they actually mean jobs. It's like a job or like an internship by a company. The reason is because they always verify these roles. Actually, we are the ones who even do the verification. So we'll physically call up these companies or visit these companies. And if we find that it's not a company or it's not like an entity, a registered entity. When they say a company, it means registered entity. It doesn't mean like it has to be like this big establishment. If it's something like your uncle's pharmacy or your uncle's chemist shop, so long as your uncle's chemist shop is a registered entity, it counts as work experience. Now, this is different from stuff like, you worked as publicity secretary of LSS or Law Student Society or something. That's not really work experience. Rather, you put that under a separate block called extracurriculars, right? Or extracurricular experience. You understand what I'm saying? So just to clarify, work experience are like jobs, right? Extracurriculars are like associations, clubs, and those kind of things that aren't really jobs, but like they're like experience that you gain. Both of them are valid, but they always want you to separate the two. Is that clear? Any questions? Any questions so far? Any questions online so far? Do we have any questions online so far? Okay, so if you're online and you're watching and there's a problem, please let us know. Everything seems really quiet. I'm concerned that like, are they fine? Everything is going fine streaming. Okay, that's cool. It's good. So same process with work experience or extracurriculars. You have the date, you have the location, you have the institution of the organization, and you have your title. Now, note on title. You actually have a lot of leeway on what this title can be, so long as you have it cleared with the organization. So let's say you were working in your uncle. So if you say you did an internship with KPMG, for example, KPMG would have like decent sounding titles for the job roles, right? Like, so maybe like it's like a business analyst intern or like an advisory intern or something. That sounds pretty professional. But it's for like your uncle's chemist where you were cleaner, cashier, stockist, general busybody, that kind of thing, right? Like there's no customer relations, accountants, cash collector, errand boy or girl, food collector, coffee collector, all those kind of things rolled together. Like you can't really put like, title general busybody. You understand? As your title, it's not professional. So you have a bit of leeway on what you can put as your title. You understand? So like maybe it's like, business intern or like marketing intern or something like that. The only thing is that make sure you clear this with whoever gave you that job. That like, if you get called, like, if you get a call from like BAMO or Talentmine, and they ask you what I did here, what I put on my CV was business analyst intern. But the only thing you did was to collect coffee for me, uncle, business analyst intern. That's all you need to know. Don't ask too many questions. Okay? So put that as a title, make it professional sounding. Don't lie, but you are allowed to be flexible. So maintenance officer, what does that mean? It's essentially a cleaner / janitor. But you can't write janitor there, so you understand. It makes it a bit somehow. So just be flexible with the time, make it sound professional. Now let's go into the meat of this thing. So the thing is that nobody is really interested in your title or in the company. Yeah, the company that you worked in is a big indicator. Oh, you're able to get an internship with PwC. You get an internship with like Cardinal Stone. Oh, that's really cool. But what I'm more interested in is what are the things that you actually did there? You understand, right? Like you were there, what were you doing? What were the skills that you gained? What achievements did you have? You understand? So those are
So action words are things like coordinated, developed, increased, responsible. You understand? And each of these action words, denote something. Coordinated means that you manage a group. You understand what I'm saying? Manage means you manage the group, right? And increased means that you had an impact. So those action words are the words that we're looking for to insinuate that, oh, this person has got to be good, this person has led the team. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. So always start with one of these action words. Now, the structure is you start with the action word. The next thing is you talk about what you did, right? What you did with that word. So let's start to look at the second bullet point. Develop troubleshooting procedures for problems on machines and equipment. So talk about what you did. So in this case, the action word is what? The action word is then what the person did was to what? Troubleshoot problems, procedures for problems, was to troubleshoot problems by developing troubleshooting procedures. Now the next thing, the next thing you need to add up is what was the result of the thing that you did, right? So remember the structure again. The action word, the thing you did, and what was the result of the thing you did, right? Now, that result, if you can, quantify that result. You understand what I'm saying? Quantify the result if you can. People like to see numbers, right? So let's come back to this. Developed what? That's action word. The thing is troubleshooting procedures for problems on machines and equipment. The result was what? Which reduced cost of maintenance, person quantified by 30%. Okay, can you see that structure? It's super clear. State that structure for every single one of your bullet points. You are fine. So let's repeat it. Action word, the thing you did, the result of the thing that you did, and then quantify if you can. Okay? Now, be very careful with quantifying. Don't just quantify for the sake of quantifying. Let your quantifying make sense. So let's say you said something like, developed coordinated a team that coordinated is the action word, a team that released a marketing campaign that released the marketing campaign, the action of what? Releasing a marketing campaign, right? That then we're going to move on to what results. Increased awareness of the club by 50%. You understand? That sounds like it makes sense. But the person who's reading is like, okay, you developed a marketing campaign, you increased awareness by 50%. The next natural question is going to be, how do you know that awareness was increased by 50%? Is it actually a measurable quantity? You understand my point? In the case of this development troubleshooting procedures, it reduces the cost of maintenance by 30%. It's easy to quantify that because all you need to do is say, oh, before this troubleshooting procedures, we used to spend 100 naira every month to fix machines. After the troubleshooting procedures, we spend 50 naira. Everybody, it makes sense that you can quantify that kind of stuff, right? So keep that in mind. And whenever you're quantifying, let it be quantities that it makes sense that you should quantify. It makes sense. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. Cool. So let's look at this on the second example. The action word here is what? Worked in a team, right? That's more than a word, or like the kind of root together. Worked in a team of six other maintenance officers to identify mechanism faults and proposed solutions which improve machine efficiency by over 40-60%. So you can see the same pattern there. Action word, activity, results, okay. So action word, activity, result, alright? And that's the same for all the three of them. Now, as I said, I'll give you those lists of action words. So what action words kind of tell you a specific skill set. So you're looking for things like leadership, teamwork, and those are sort of like insinuated in the action words that you're using. Alright? So it's the same thing with the second bullet point, right? This person, the date, the location, this is the person organization, business support officer, responsible for basic bookkeeping and accounting. So responsible is the action word. What is the person doing? Basic company bookkeeping and accounting. And then what was the quantification? What did you bookkeep and accounting? I bookkept and accounted for over 1.2 million in annual revenue. This brings me to an interesting point. The audience that's reading this thing, especially if you are sending it to this international institution, is an international audience. So try and put it in numbers. Don't let them have to Google that Nigeria to Naira is 360. Make life easier, just put it in brackets, you understand? So in brackets or something like that. Usually if you do it in dollars, everybody knows dollars. Everybody knows dollars. So you don't say you need to do it in pounds for these people or dollars for someone else. Okay? Cool. And it's the same thing. So note, you don't have to quantify everything, as I said. Some things just can't be quantified, but you can still mention the result. It helps if you can, but it's not a negative if you know. Okay? So it's quite the same pattern for like work experience, follow the same pattern for extracurricular experience and all that. So the common question that people ask is, do you have any questions?
Yeah, we have one.
Okay, cool. Do you have any questions in the past before? So someone so let me do so
Is this okay?
Tiga seguinte, sistema.
But it's not flush. So there's still structure. Are you good? Can you unlock if you want to?
I just something to
Okay, cool. So Dede is asking if you work in a global NGO that has an office in your school, registered with CAC for consumer expenditure, do you classify it as work experience or extracurricular? It's work experience. So it's an actual organization that's registered. You can count it as work experience. Sorry? You are going to ask that question, okay. All right. Just check with them that it's clear. Any other questions? Yes, sorry, name. Name, sorry. Femi, okay, yeah, cool. If you worked with Talentmine, that's, thank you, I'm flattered. That's probably going to be under other information. Okay, and I'll let you know about that. Yeah. Toby, yeah, sure. Yes. Yes. So Toby's question is, say you did a course and the course needs you to do some additional work like an appraisal or like a project or something like that, right? That's actually under education. Feel free to add it under education as well. You just write it there like, executed appraisal of blah, 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 blah. The same process, action word, activity, results, quantify, okay? But put it under education because it's more aligned with education. Yes?
Okay, my name is
Matthew Dede.
Osagede.
Matthew Segede.
Osagede.
Osagede. Okay, Matthew, yeah.
Okay. If you're a campus ambassador
Yes.
for a company,
Yes. Yes. Yes, you can put that under work experience, yeah. Just so anything that's like work for like a company or an organization, it's work experience. You can put it as work experience. Anything that's like, school club, the thing was registered with the school, but it's not really a company. It's an organization, but it's like extracurricular experience, right? Yes. What's Oladaya, yeah? That's what he asked. So Oladaya's question is like, where does trainings go? Trainings go under other information. We'll get to that. Sorry, I've forgotten your name. Toby. Yes, Toby. Those are Toby. Yeah. Yeah, Toby, yeah, your question. Working in a church. Okay. So Toby's question is about how about working in a church? If it's a church, work experience. If it's a school fellowship, extracurricular. Yeah, but that's the differential. If it's a church, it's work experience, it's a registered organization. If it's okay, that's cool. If it's a fellowship, it's a registered school organization, we're not an entity. That's extracurricular. Yes, Toby, another question. If you're holding a position in the university itself.
Not working, it's like being president of a hostel or something.
President of a hostel. You did work, like it was conk. If you feel like you did, it was at that point like discretion. You can put it under work experience. I guess that's fine, right? But the question is like, in that case, you're working for the school, kind of. So the school is like a registered entity. It's not like a club. So yeah, you can put it under work experience. You had a question? Yes. Sorry, what's your name?
Yeah,
Sorry?
Rihanna,
Rihanna, okay.
your department.
If you're working for your department. So what do you mean by working for your department? Like yeah, so the thing is that, are you employed by the department or you are working in a departmental association? So if it's a departmental association, you are working for the departmental association. It's an extracurricular activity. If it's like you were employed by the Department of Food Science and Technology to do something, even though you're a student, something, that is work experience. You understand what I'm saying? Somebody had, okay, yes, Toby.
What is your work is during the year, January to September?
Okay,
So how do you do?
within 1 year. So Toby's question is, what if your work was just for like a 3-month internship or something like that, right? January to December. Suleiman, can you scroll down for me? Very simple. Scroll down. No, scroll up, sorry. Yeah, very simple. So you can see here I put January. In fact, this is very similar to this. This was January 08 to March 08. You understand what I'm saying? So you can put that. But the thing is that consistency is key because that's another sign of attention to detail. So let's say there was a situation where you did just 3 months of work and you had to put the month. Because of space, you can always use the 3-letter coding for months, like JAN or MAR. That's perfectly acceptable. But if you do that on one, even if the other one was like a 3-year stint, for the sake of consistency, put the month for those ones as well. So maybe it's like SEP 2007 to Jan 2014 or something like that, right? Yes. Koye Sola. Kiye Sola, okay. Yes. Yes.
For example, you are working in a church that's in your school. That's like
So Kiye Sola's question is, what if you are working with the church, which we said was work experience, but you're doing it in the school? So essentially, you're working with the fellowship version of your church. Like the students' fellowship of the church. Yeah, the school church. I used to like school chapel. There's a difference between the school chapel and a school fellowship. Not a fellowship. The church run by the university. Yeah, so if it's a church run by the university and you're working there, that in itself, you can say work experience if you want to. Like at that point, it's like, you know, it can go either way. That's fine. Yeah. Olimide. Yeah. I can't hear you. Yes. There's a work study program going on in Unilag, yeah, sure. And what? It's in the university, yeah. That's work experience. So something like a work study. So let me ask questions like work study programs. Is that but like the work is in the university? Yes, it's work experience because you are working for the university. That counts. The university is an organization. It's a registered organization. So that counts as work experience. Yes. Idris, yeah. So Idris's question is like, is it compulsory for the dates to be on the left side? It doesn't really matter. So long as like the date is there. It can be on the left, it can be on the right. People use different formats, okay? Just to clarify, this isn't the only format that you can use. The only things that should stay consistent are your name, address, phone number, email, they are there. And you have your education, work experience, and all these bullets. And then everything is always in reverse chronological order. And the fonts, those are the only constants. You can put your address on the side, you can put it on the other side. You can make this one, you know, bold but no underline. You can maybe underline but not bolded. All those kind of formatting changes can be different. They're flexible. But just make sure it's something that looks neat and that all your lines, your edges are aligned. So for example, you find people who you write a CV and this one will be entering to the left. This one will be further out like this. So make sure everything aligns. You see this is all aligned. This, the Obafemi, the O on the Obafemi, the M on the maintenance officer, it's all aligned. The bullets, they're all aligned. You understand what I'm saying? So make sure that that alignment is key. Because it needs to be neat. Yeah. Sorry, what's your name? Samuel, okay. On a what? Remote job, okay. Yeah, yeah. So Sam's question is, assuming you were working like a remote internship or remote job for a company, you're not fully employed, but you're like a contract worker, right? It's work experience. Yes. Divine favor, yeah. Sorry? Yeah. Yeah. And you've what? Yes. Yes. You're writing jargon. Yeah. So like, don't make it more than a page. So Divine Favor's question is like, you've worked for like 4 or 5 companies. They're all really amazing companies. You've done, and then you've done, in addition to that, you've done so many other amazing things, right? That if you, but yeah, other things as well that you want to add to your CV. That like if you put everything together, like you're so amazing, your CV will be running into like 5 pages. Like you've started a company that you quoted, was quoted on the stock exchange. You know, you discovered a new element. You know, you've been given a Nobel Prize. All those other things. Now, the honest truth is that like for people at your level, it's unlikely you would ever have a CV that needs to extend to more than 2 pages. It's very unlikely. Instead, focus on like, you need to just focus and be like, what are the work experience is the most important thing that they're going to look at, right? All at the same level, right? You did KPMG, McKinsey, Bain, and PwC. If you had to pick 3, who would you pick? You know the answer yourself. You know it's going to be McKinsey, Bain, and one of other PwC or KPMG. You know that that's the answer, right? Like, if you want to be honest with yourself. So it kind of forces you to sort of say, these are the very best parts of my CV, and those are the only things that I'm going to put down. You understand what I'm saying, right? And then if you feel that these other things are important, like super important, you can just write like super short bullet points under your other info. That's what other information is for. Other information is like, well, I have also done like a lot of amazing things that I don't want to expand on in the main sections of education or work experience, but I'll just like hint it here. I'll just drop it here because I want to make sure that you know about that. You understand what I'm saying? Any other questions? Yes, Idris. What? There's a question here. Okay, cool. Idris, yeah. Sorry? For references, yeah. We'll get to that. We haven't gotten there yet. Yeah, we'll get to references. So Dede is asking, independently planned projects, events, etc. can be classified as what? So if it's independently planned projects, so it's like projects that you did in a group or something like that, but it's not for like a registered entity or a company. It's extracurricular or volunteer experience or extracurricular experience, right? So that's the thing. If it's like you started a company and your company was registered, you can put that as work experience because it's a registered entity. If it's not registered but you were running it, it's like extracurricular. It's not a registered entity. It's not. If it's not registered, technically it's not a company. Legally, it's not. So that's the thing. So it's also, what about logistics volunteer, protocol volunteers for companies in your school for specific events? You can put that as work experience. So long as the person that you're working for is a registered entity, it counts for as work experience. So Tyra is asking, is it wise to reduce the margins on the CV to accommodate more content? It's the Mago man. So Tyra's question is, you can see the margins of the CV here. You have so much content, so many amazing things, but it's spilling over into like 3 pages. Can you do a bit of mago and reduce the margins on the sides to accommodate more? The answer is yes, but up to a point. So if you've sort of like switched the margins to the point that your W in work experience is literally touching the edge of the page, right? No, that doesn't make it. You have no margin left. It's going to make your work look scruffy and messy. Don't do that. Instead, look at the content and ask the content that like, is this content saying I am amazing, right? Like, you will find that for the most part, all the content you put in there, you just put in there because you did it. it doesn't necessarily say that you're amazing. So if you have like 5 amazing things, if you tell yourself I'm only going to put 3, it will force you to pick the 3 most amazing things. You understand what I'm saying? So the person reading it isn't going to be like, oh, if he reads five things, 3 of them are amazing and 2 are like okay amazing, he's going to be like, oh, okay, this guy has done like okay amazing things. But if it's like only 3 amazing things, it's like, wow, this person has only ever done amazing things in their entire life. They've never done anything that's okay amazing, right? Like, so just restrict the quantity. Just always go for quality rather than quantity. And that's why it's a good rule of thumb to say, I'm going to stick to 1 page, but that 1 page is going to be packed with the most amazing thing, so that once the person sees that 1 page, I'm like this awesome person. Okay? Scroll down. Let's go down. Any other questions? Any other questions online? Okay, cool. The next thing you need to write here, most people add are like skills. Now, a lot of people vary, but this is my position on skills, right? Don't write stuff like outstanding analytical and problem-solving skills, fantastic interpersonal and leadership skills. These are what I like to call fluff, right? You shouldn't need to tell me that you have a great analytical or problem-solving skills. I'll figure that out on my own during the interview. You shouldn't need to tell me that you have excellent oral and written communication skills. Your written communication skills, I will figure that out on your cover letter. On your oral, I will figure that out at the interview. You shouldn't need to tell me that you're able to work. You shouldn't need to outrightly tell me I have the ability to work in a team. I won't believe you. Tell me that, insinuate that in the content of your work experience, where you told me that these are the things that I actually did in a team. You understand what I'm saying? So for skills, don't write all this fluff stuff. Self-motivated and target-oriented. It's fluff. It adds no value. Instead, what you should be putting here should be core technical skills. So let's say you learn how to use a software in finance. Let's say you know how to use a Bloomberg machine, for example. Now that's a skill. So put that there, like, you know, ability to use Bloomberg terminals or something. Or like you know how to use like CapIQ to find it for like software and like technical skills that pertain to the job. That like if they see it, they're like, oh, this person already knows how to do this thing. Fantastic. Hot cake. Or like, okay, no. Or like say something like financial modeling skills, you know, ability to build financial models. You get it? That's a crucial skill, right? So those are the kind of skills that you need to put in here. Not fluff stuff like, oh, I can lead a team. Yeah, show me that you actually did that stuff. All right? Any questions?
Yes.
Questions? Yes, Emeka.
So I want to ask you a question.
Yes.
Which I have encountered personally.
Okay.
So you're saying you should pick out like the very important things, like the very less important things you've done, and put like the great things you've done.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been in a situation where I went for an interview. I did not put in something I did, which I thought it wasn't so relevant. The very first, and I was very unlucky. The person interviewing me was the person that he has interviewed me before. Like I reapplied for a role, and
Okay.
the person interviewing me again.
Mm-hmm.
The person says, "Oh, I remember this CV.
Mm-hmm.
I remember all about this. So what did you do with your life in the past 1 year?"
Okay.
And I was thrown aback. Like I didn't know how to like. So it just paused the whole interview for me.
Okay.
And I wasn't able to make it through because I was like, why wasn't it the same person? 1 and 2. That was the very first thing. He said, I remember you, Chiemeka, and these are all the things you have. I remember all of this. So what did you do within last year, the last time we spoke and now?
Mm-hmm.
And you just threw me off balance. I was not like, and that was just it for me.
Okay. So Chiamaka's, I said
Emeka,
Chiamaka.
just call me Emeka.
Emeka's question, sorry, was went for an interview, presented exactly the same CV that he had presented the year before to apply for the job. Person looked at it into doing the interview, so I remember this CV. First question of why was it the same person? My answer to that
Yeah, I know
is
that.
I do not know.
Yeah, exactly.
That's divine intervention. I cannot answer that. God knows best.
Yeah, I know.
Exactly. Okay. Okay, fine. The second question is like in that situation, you know, the guy asked him like, well, your CV looks exactly the same as the last time you applied. What have you done in the last 1 year? Rule of thumb: if you're applying for the same job, don't apply with the same CV. It's like it essentially signals from last year to this year, you did nothing. That's essentially what it means. But the person wants to know that, like, well, something has changed about you from the last time I spoke with you. That, like, oh, now you're a very interesting person, right? You understand my point? So I think the pitfall in that was to submitting exactly the same CV that you did the last time. Yeah. So the thing is that, so the question is that, had you done anything interesting from the previous year to this year? If the answer was no, well, I mean, yeah, the guy's benchmark was I want to select somebody who had done something interesting from the last time. In your own case, the answer was you hadn't, so there's nothing you can do about that, right? But the question is that if you had done something, you should have put that in the CD, right? You should. So, like, I don't know if that answers your question, basically. Yeah, cool. Any other question? Scroll down. So then the final piece of the, what's it called? CV is other information. Yes, Olumide. Yes. No, because this is so Olumide's question is that under skills, can you add stuff like proficient in Microsoft Word, Excel, and all those things? My answer is it doesn't really add value, because in 2018, I expect that the average human being who has attended the university and graduated should know how to use Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, and at least something in Excel. That's my assumption. Like, you telling me that you do that doesn't add any value, because I'm expecting that you already know how to do that. You understand my point, right? I don't know if you get my point. Yes, Sambo, yeah. Yeah. Okay. So Samuel's question is like, during an interview, the interviewer is looking at some certain items on the interview and is asking you to walk you through those things. But like, you know that like you've done them, you just touched them, but then you started shifting your attention to something else. Can you tell him that? Yes, of course. Feel free to tell him that. Like, yeah, I mean, I've been working with PHP for some time. I decided to move into like Python or something else for X and Y reasons. That's perfectly acceptable. Yeah. Any other questions? Yes. Sorry, I'm forgetting your name. Oladaya, yeah. Bullets. So Oladaya's question is that under each item, is there a maximum number of bullets? I usually say the max is 5. The sweet spot is 3 and 4. I usually try to keep it to 3, minimum of 3. Usually try to do 3 or 4. If you really have to, take it to 5. I wouldn't say take it to 5, but if you absolutely have to, take it to 5. But just keep it between 3 and 4. 3 or 4, sorry. Yeah. So Taya is asking, how relevant are one's articles and publications which relate to the position being applied for? So stuff like you publish articles or you publish publications on your own, all those things should be under other information, right? So which brings me back to other info. So under other information is like stuff that you kind of want to talk about, but didn't put them under. They were not like super amazing enough for them to warrant their own 3 or 4 bullet items under experience or under education, right? So you can add them under other information, right? So like in this case, the person asked, it was chairman of the debate committee at SWEP or whatever, right? Or he was a member of IEEE and the Society of Engineers, right? So like it's not heavy stuff, but like it's kind of important. So you put it under other information. Stuff like your publications, like, you know, publish so and so, all those things are under other information, right? Yes.
John.
Yeah, John.
So you said you couldn't add
Yeah. Yeah.
But then, for instance, Excel, for instance, like has so many layers of proficiency. So if I'm very advanced in Excel, right?
Yeah.
And the job needs something that is carry skill in themselves.
Yeah.
I would that be like an early power.
So at that, so John's question is, what if I'm like a super advanced user? I'm an advanced user of Excel. Shouldn't I put that under, skills, right? At that point, you're not saying advanced proficiency in Excel. You're mentioning those advanced things that you can do yourself. Or proficient in, macros, pivot tables. So that if you're telling me about macros and pivot tables, oh yeah, now I know that you're proficient, you're an advanced user of Excel. But like, if you're telling me advanced user of Excel, that's useless information to me, right? So if you're truly advanced, what you will be putting under skills would be proficient in developing macros and using pivot tables in Excel. The skill is not using Excel. The skill is in developing macros and pivot tables, for example. So that's what. Audio is back? Okay. So back to your question about like line spacing and font sizes. So if it looks squeezed together, this doesn't work, increase it to 1.5. It doesn't mean you have to stay on one page. Like if you've tried everything and it spills into like slightly over a page or 1.5 pages, nobody's going to kill you, you understand? People will take that. But just make sure that the actual content there is solid content that warrants going to 1.5 pages, right? So line spacing, yeah, try to stay to 1.5. Font sizes, 11 is usually pretty good, okay? By the time you can see that you're going to like 10, 9, if you look at it, this thing is looking tiny, I'm going to need a microscope to read this. Then you know you're off. You can increase and figure out how to fix things in. Yes? Yeah. So Samuel, right? So Samuel's question is, can you include some of your social media accounts? The answer is yes, so long as they're professional social media pages. So like, not like your Twitter account or your Facebook page or anything like that. Your LinkedIn page, perfectly fine. If you're a developer, your GitHub repo, that's perfectly fine as well, right? But the thing is that like your LinkedIn page is actually more or less like a CV, so it's almost like the. But if you really want to, you can put it there. It's fine. Nobody's gonna crucify you for not doing that. Anything else? Yes, Toby. Yes. Extracurricular. Yes. What do you mean extracurricular experience or extracurricular activities? You've not allowed me to finish. I'm not done yet. Yeah. Oh, okay. So is your question, where do I put this extracurricular experience that are not work experience? Okay. So Tommy's question is, if I actually have extracurriculars that are not work experience, but I want to put them in, where do I put them on the CV? The answer is after work experience. So it would be education, work experience, extracurricular or volunteer experience, and then skills, okay? But the two top things you need to start with, education, work experience, everything comes after those two. Yes, John, yeah. Yeah. If you have a what? Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I get your question. You have a web blog, you have a blog. Where do you put it on a CV? Other information. Yes, you can put like, blogging at www/so. So John, right? John's question is like, if you have the blog, where would you put that? That's not a profile. So the thing is that the LinkedIn account is your profile, is your work profile. So you can put that under like the email address and all that stuff. But something like your blog is like your content. So that you would put under your content, that you would put under other information. Yes, John.
Then if you go for like office visits to companies in the financial industry,
Don't add it. Doesn't add anything. So John is asking if you've gone on office visits to companies in the financial industry, it adds nothing to your CV. That's not amazing. There's nothing. Oh, I went to Nigerian Stock Exchange. Okay. All right. Cool. What did you do there? Oh, I looked around. Oh, fantastic. You could have done that on the internet for free. Like, you didn't need to have left your house. You understand? That's not, don't add that. Has no value. Yes. Kia Solar, yes.
Can we put, because some companies, they ask for, like, they have bridge requirements.
Yes.
Also, nights for airline companies.
Yeah.
For example. So can we put our age or height?
So Kia Solar's question is, because some companies ask for like personal information like age or height, or can you add that in the CV? Only add it if it's clear that the company needs that information. So the other thing is that don't give information that somebody did not ask for. You understand? You know, there's a policy, like, you know, there used to be a policy in the American Army called don't ask, don't tell. So if you are gay, don't tell me. I'm not going to ask you. And you don't tell me. But if you volunteer that information and tell me, you understand, there will be consequences. You understand? I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. It's like, okay, don't steal. But I also have don't ask, don't tell. So if you steal and you do not tell me that you stole, everything is fine. I'm not going to ask you if you stole. You understand? So don't volunteer information that nobody asks for. Almost all international firms, even Nigerian firms for the most part, they're not going to ask you, I mean, at this stage, they're not going to ask you for your age or anything like that. If they do, they will ask you on like the application form and then they will clean it out from there. But like for a lot of international, it's actually illegal to hire people, to not hire people based on their age, sex, sexual orientation, religion, all those kind of things. So don't volunteer that information. So don't write it there. I am a gay, Buddhist, 50-year-old man looking for a job that usually hires 25-year-olds. You understand? Don't volunteer that information. All right. Yes.
Okay, I just want to clarify. Is the CV the same
Matthew.
thing as the resume?
Yes, the CV. No, so Matthew's question is the CV the same thing as the resume? For the purposes of this, like, you don't need to go into, that's like information that's useless, doesn't help you at all. CVs essentially are actually much longer quantities, okay, much longer, what do they call it, much longer records of your work experience. So that's like all the articles you've written, everything. So CVs can move into like, 10 pages, 15 pages, all those kind of things. A resume is just like a summary, essentially. But like for people at your for like your stage, or for most industries or jobs, it's essentially the same thing, right? Yeah. Any other questions? Yes. Adiola, yeah.
So like last month,
Yeah.
I and trying to through an investment site, so went for a training
Okay.
at ARN
Yeah.
on valuation.
Yes. Other information.
Okay.
Yes. So trainings and stuff like that, other information. Yeah. That are applicable. Other information. And then you wrap it up with extracurricular activities. So also be careful with the kind of stuff you write on extra. So as I said, everything should be pointing to the fact that you're amazing and you're interesting, right? Like, so don't write stuff like extracurricular activities, singing, dancing, networking. It doesn't add any value. Like, those are not activities, right? So like, but it's more interesting if you say, dancing salsa, right? Like, oh, okay, that's cool. You dance salsa, like dancing, like the foxtrot, like classical opera singing. That's your hobby. Like, okay, that's interesting. That's weird. But not like, oh, singing. Whee! So those are the kind of things that you put under the extracurricular activities. Okay? And I think we're done. So let's just skip to the cover letter. Let's just do that really quickly. It's not going to take that much time, and I'm done. So any questions for the CVs? Yes. Ogechi. Yes, yeah. Assume you have what? 2 email addresses. So Ogechi's question is like, what would you do if you used one email address to apply and one email address for your CV? My answer to that question is don't even do it in the first place. Like, why create that kind of confusion for yourself? Just like choose one email address that you use for all your applications. There's no need for that kind of confusion, and make that consistent. Okay. Any other question? Yes. Toby. John.
Having references.
Yes. So when it comes to references, most times just put like references upon request, right? References usually just take up space that nobody looks at. You know, I personally feel like references are the biggest pile of bullshit ever. Ask me, what are you saying? Okay, I'm telling you, you go and bring me people who will tell me about yourself, and I will use that information. You're not dumb now. You're going to go and find people who will say good things about you. You understand my point? So what's the point, right? But that's just my personal view. When it comes to references, just write like references upon request. Okay? Yes. What if you what? Yes. So Idris's question is, what if you hyperlink the references? What do you mean by the references? So when we talk about references, references refers to people who can vouch for you. Is that what you're talking about? So I have so and so certificate. This is where you can go and view it. No, nobody does that on CVs. Usually, if they want to do their due diligence, they will ask for those things later after they've selected. You don't need to send it to them. They don't care at that point. Yes. So what? Trainings, yeah. Under other information, yeah. It's a training, other information, yeah. It's not a degree, it's not work experience, it's just a training, it's other information. Yes.
It's a training where I learned very crucial skills in the job.
Yeah.
How do I point those skills?
So if it's the skills that you can actively do, put it under skills. And then you can also put the training under other information. So if it's like you went for a training that taught you how to use pivot tables and macros, right? Now you have gained the skill of pivot tables and macros, put it under skills. You understand what I'm saying? And then decide if you want to, whether or not to put it under the training. Nobody cares about the training. We only care about the skills. It's just a Nigerian mentality to care about like, oh, I have this certificate, I have that certificate, I have this training, I have that training. Sensible people don't give a shit about like the trainings that you've gone for. The important thing is like, can you do the job? So if I have two people, one has gone for all the trainings in the world on macros and pivot table, on building financial models. But if I give him a financial model, he doesn't know how to do it. And the other person never went for a training in his life. I read everything on YouTube, but he can build me a financial model. I only care about the person who can get the job done, okay? So don't get wrapped up in like, oh, I've gone for all these trainings. Nobody gives a rat's ass, right? Like, so the important thing is that do I have those skills? Then I put them under skills. Okay? Let's take a quick break, and then we'll come back to continue on the cover letter. How's the sound? How's the sound? They don't seem. Are you sure everything is going fine in those places? Because are you double checking that everything is going fine in those other places?
It's going fine, fantastic.
Are you serious? Okay. Maybe because I'm just used to always hearing complaints about it. And it's weird that they don't have anything. Okay, can we start? All right, let's go. Are you guys ready? I think maybe another 30 minutes, we're done. Are you ready? You're live? Okay. So, in addition to your CV, sometimes you might be asked to write like, hello, cool. You have a question? Yes, Olumide, right? Olumide. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Polished, yeah. What do you mean, polished? Okay. So, Olumide's question is, what if I have an idea of a skill, but I'm not very proficient at it? But like I have an idea, Abi, still put it there. Just put it. Okay? Put it in. Worst case scenario is that you'll be asked, oh, how proficient are you in this thing? And then you come clean. Oh, I can do this, I can do that, but I'm still on my way. You understand? Sometimes you will not be asked, so it's fine. Okay? So still put it in if you have like a decent knowledge of it, even if you are not very advanced. Yes, divine favor. Good question. So divine favor's question is, what if I'm applying for a finance role, but I don't have any directly related skills in finance? Now, the luck that you have at this level is when people are hiring you into entry-level positions, they are not looking for you to know everything. They're not looking that you know how to do financial modeling, etc., etc. The vast majority of people applying for those roles might not have those skill sets. That's why we have these training programs to set you above the vast majority of people. You understand? So more often than not, from your CV, what they're interested in looking at are what we call transferable skills, okay? Can this person work hard? Can this person lead a team? Can this person communicate well? Everything else on the technical side, I can teach that, or the person is going to naturally learn it over like 2 or 3 months. But I can't teach somebody how to work hard. I can't teach somebody how to like lead a team. I can't teach somebody how to write proper English. You understand my point? So you try and find things that align with finance as much as possible, but so long as you're emphasizing those important things from the keywords, action words that I spoke about, you should be fine. Okay. Yes, John.
So you said employers are at level.
Yeah.
That have the main skills, right?
Yeah.
But then,
They can be a bit flexible. Yeah, but go on, yeah.
but then you put that together a lot. But the truth is, I mean, they say that a lot, right? But when you want to start actually recruiting,
Yeah.
and those of us who actually know these stuff
Yeah.
and have an advantage over others.
Yes.
So
So your question is, yes, people may say that like, well, you don't need those skills, but having those skills gives a clear advantage, right? Yes, I agree with you. That's why we have classes like this. So what I'm saying is that for people who are here, right, even if you don't have directly related transferable skills, right, people will still call you for an interview. And at that point, you can share your knowledge. You understand? And at the end of this class, you will learn, we'll have classes on financial modeling, we're having classes on like valuation techniques. Those are things you can add to the skills section. So it's unlikely to finish this training and you will not have skills that you can put here to show that, oh, you have skills that are aligned with the finance industry. You understand what I'm saying? Any other question? Any questions online? All right. Yeah, we have some questions online. Ooh, we have a lot of online questions from my people. Yeah. So Data is asking, so we shouldn't put soft skills on our CV. No, don't put soft skills on your CV. Soft skills will be tested on the interview, just as I said. ability to lead a team, all those soft skills. Hey guys, can I have your attention please? Thank you. All those soft skills should be sort of indicated or insinuated from your CV, right? Yeah, so Joshua, this question has been answered. So Lara is asking, is Gmail more professional than Yahoo Mail to put under your contact? There's no difference. They're both the same. It's okay. The answer is there's no difference. So Nobleman is asking, in a situation, which is a good question, in a situation where you don't really have any work experience, what should someone do? Then in that case, make sure you have what? Extracurricular and volunteer experience. Okay. If you have no experience at all, you have never done anything in school, then I'm sorry, I can't help you. Like, what am I going to say? But more often than not, you've maybe been involved in your class group or your fellowship or religious group or whatever. You understand? That's some activity that you've done. It's very rare to find somebody who has done absolutely nothing. So if you don't have any work experience with particular organizations, it's fine for you to trump up your extracurricular or volunteer experience. Okay, cool. So let's talk. Yes. So what's your name? Elijah. Okay. Yeah. So Elijah's question is for work experience. Does it have to relate to the role that you're applying for? The answer is yes. That's the most important one. If you don't have work experience that relates to the role, then look for work experience that emphasizes stuff like leadership and that you're somebody that can get things done, basically. But like in order of importance, you can't just keep it one place. In order of importance, it should be work experience that directly relates to the work that you're doing. Then any work experience that has items that point to you work hard, you work in a team, you get shit done, all those kind of things. Okay? Any other questions? All right, cool. Let's go. So when it comes to the cover letter, it's a very simple thing. One thing I always like to teach you guys is structure, right? Structure. Once you know the structure of anything, you can easily figure it out. We figured out the structure of the CV now, right? The next thing is the structure of the cover letter. Okay? It's very simple. It's an introduction. That's who you are, right? Why you're interested in the role, why you're interested in the company, and why you. It's 4 things. Who you are, it's the introduction. Why you're interested in the company, in the role, that's the job. Why you're interested in that company, right? And why you. That's why you are the best candidate for that role. All right? So those are the 4 items you need to make sure you touch in a cover letter. So it's the introduction, why you're interested in the role, why you're interested in the company, and why you. That's why you should be the person selected. Do you understand what I'm saying? So once you touch those 4 things in a cover letter, you're good. So the number of words that you use to touch those things varies based on the application. You get my points, right? Some people may ask you to write 250 words, 300 words, those kind of things. Whatever the number of words, make sure that you hit those 4 points. Okay? So let's look at this person. First point is what? Introduction. I am Okafor Bala Damilola, a highly motivated final year medical student at the University of Lagos, Nigeria. Right? And of course, you need to say what you're applying for. And I'm interested in being a spring intern in the investment banking division of Goldman Sachs. So that's your introduction. Who you are, what you're interested in. Right? So what's next on our list? What? Why are you interested in the job, right? So our friend says, I believe this internship will be a great opportunity for me to share of the widely reputed Goldman Sachs experience and ultimately launch a long-term career with Goldman. So it's explained, this is why I want the job, right? So what's next? What? Sorry? Why the company, right? Okay. Unfortunately, this was not talked about here. So this is an incomplete cover letter, right? Sorry, can you scroll down? Right. Let me see. Scroll down. Scroll up. So this is an incomplete cover letter. So the one thing that is missing here is why are you interested in Goldman Sachs? There's a cheat code or an expo for answering those questions. Do you know what a cheat code and expo is? Do you want to know what the cheat code or expo is?
Yes, please.
You people are all cheats. The cheat or expo is the answer to that question is sitting on the company's website. Right? Every company says what is amazing about them. So Goldman's will say, what makes us amazing is our focus on our people and our 12 principles, right? Bamo might say something else. All you need to do, your cheat code, you have one job. It's not hard. Go to the website, look around. What is that thing that these people keep talking about all the time? They keep saying that this is who they are all the time, right? Go back to your cover letter and say that that's the reason why you want to join them. So if the reason they say is like, oh, we like to drink milk, we like to drink milk, we like to drink milk. Even if you know that if you drink milk, your imam or your pastor has told you, if you drink milk, you will fall down and die. Even if you know you cannot drink milk, on your cover letter, I want to join your company because I need the opportunity to drink milk. You understand what I'm saying? So that's what you should put for why you want to join the company, okay? In addition to that, almost everybody who has been to this kind of program or who knows what they're talking about will write something like that. So also look for something else that you feel that a lot of people will not notice, or something that personally connects you to that company, right? You understand my point? So it could be something like you met somebody who had interned at the firm before, or you had read something in the news about how amazing the company was, or the person you knew who had interned in the company before, came back and told you about their experience and you really connected with it. You understand what I'm saying? So that's how you answer the why the company question, right? And then the final part is why you. So on the why you section, what you're saying is, these are my skills, both soft and technical. Here you can talk fluff. These are my skills, both fluff and technical. This is why you should pick me, right? But the structure is, these are my skills. These are the things that I did to show that I have those skills, and this is why you should pick me. You understand what I'm saying? These are my skills. If you think back to first principles, one thing that we always say is that whatever you do, always back it up with what? Evidence. In the cover letter, in the CV, you were backing up your bullet points with evidence, with like, this is what happened, evidence by these things or the quantities. The same thing happens in your cover letter as well. These are the skills that make me a great candidate. This is why you should pick me, and this is the evidence. Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me? Okay. And this is the evidence of why you should pick me. Okay? So let's go with this. Okay. As an economics student, I have learned how to pay attention to detail and use often disparate pieces of information to solve complex problems. I believe these attributes, blah, 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 talks about a few other things. Let's skip that. Let's jump to, in addition, hold on. In addition, my 1 year stint as a leader in a team of 24 with the duty of offering free course tutorials and academics related counseling services to a multicultural campus association of over 1,400 members. So that's the thing that I did, right? The evidence is we did something to 1,400 members. But the question is, what's the skill that I gained? It has enabled me to better understand the dynamics of teamwork. You get my point? So the formula is, why should they pick you? The cheat code again. the answers are always on the company's website. They're telling you, we want people who show teamwork. We want people who are hardworking. We want people who can pay attention to detail. So all you need to do is pick 2 or 3 of those things and craft a story as the evidence that you have those skills and put in your cover letter. Shikena, you're done. So this person knows that teamwork is one of the things that's important to Goldman Sachs, and has written a letter, and in the cover letter has mentioned, oh, I did this and this and this, evidenced by, no, I have teamwork, evidenced by this and this and this thing that I did. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that's all you need to do. And then end it, summarize, end it with like a conclusion. Obviously, you have to conclude and then say, of course, don't say, with these few points of mine, I hope I've been able to convince you and not confuse you that I should be selected for an internship. Try and end it neatly, you know. Just say something like, you know, I believe that my experience, skills, and my interests would make me a great candidate, and I hope to hear from you, or something like that. You understand what I'm saying? Just like a nice conclusion. You all did essay writing at the end. So to recap, for a good cover letter, you need the introduction. You need what else? What? Why you're interested in the position. What else? Why you're interested in the company, right? So in the company, you could also add why you're interested in the company / the industry as well. Remember when we spoke about tell me about yourself, right? Where you talk about your interest in the industry. So for the third one, it can be why you're interested in the company and the industry too. And the last one is what? What? Why you? So why you should be the one selected. And then you have your conclusion. Once you do that, you're fine with the cover letter. Any questions? Yes. Yusuf, yeah. Sorry? So Yusuf's question is that, is it important to put your address on the cover letter? So nowadays, what they usually do is the cover letter is part of the application form. So they just ask you to paste the body of the cover letter in the application form. So nobody actually takes cover letter as a proper letter any longer. So you don't need to just work on the content that you paste in the application form. This is usually what they ask for. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I know, Elijah, yeah. Sorry? If what? On CV, okay. So Elijah's question is, if you apply for a job in Lagos and you stay in Osho, should you put a Lagos address? The answer is like, it depends. If you feel that the job they will never give you if you don't stay in Lagos, go ahead. But most jobs that are sensible and they're worth their salt, they won't say that, oh, this person stays in Akoka. My office is Agege, I can't give him the job. They will at least, if they see your CV has been interesting, they will at least want to talk to you and then talk through that, right? Anything else? Any questions online? No questions? Yes? So you're asking now, what's my take on CVs and cover letters having the same font? It's fine. It's okay. They can have the same fonts, they can have different fonts. More often than not, cover letters are pasted in the application form. When I say form, that's like it's almost always an online application these days. Most people paste the cover letter in an online application. You understand? So whatever font you wrote it in doesn't matter. It's not like you're printing it. Where fonts really matter is on the CVs, right? Sorry, one other thing I wanted to add on the CVs. If you're sending your CV out to somebody, right, do not, I repeat, unless they ask for it specifically, do not send it in Microsoft Word. Make sure you convert it into PDF before sending. Because if you send it as Microsoft Word and you used Verdana, it looked like a nice font on your own system. But the person doesn't have Verdana on their system. They open it and it looks like Comic Sans. Right? The person will think you wrote it in Comic Sans. But if you converted it into PDF, that problem wouldn't happen. So always, always, always convert your cover letter, your CVs into PDFs before sending. Unless the company expressly asks you, send it to me in Microsoft Word. And that rarely happens. Yes, another question. Yeah, okay. So, Nobleman is asking, being an accounting tutor is a relevant work experience to finance. Yes, but if you're an accounting tutor, but you were doing tutorials on your own in school, that's what? Extracurricular. It's not, you were not working under a company. So don't put it as work experience, it's extracurricular experience. So he said, what about if you were a part of a team that did a research challenge? Where do you think that will fall in? Other information. Yeah, it's not enough for you to write a whole article on it. You can put it as other information. But if you notice that you don't have any other content, you only have one thing you've ever done in your life, and you need to add something else, try and find a way to put it under that would be under extracurricular experience at best. So it's like, is it a must to send in one's cover letter with the CV? How you send in cover letter or CV, there are various things. It's always dependent on the employer. They will tell you how they want to receive this information. The important thing is know how to create the information. How they want to receive it, they will let you know. Any other questions? Yes, John. Yeah. 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 So John's question is, if someone asks you to send them a CV via email, what should be the content of the email? Your cover letter, right? So try and like a short cover letter, right? And just say, this is who I am, blah, 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 and attach this, my CV. So the person at a glance can say, oh, this person is interesting, let me look at the CV. But if it's somebody that just says, just send me your CV, I want to forward it to somebody, you understand my point? You can just send them the CV alone. But if it's like you're applying directly, maybe like a cold application, and you're sending it in, put your cover letter in the body, or a condensed form of your cover letter, maybe like marks, maybe like five lines, 5 sentences, and then attach the CV in. Any other question? Yes. Yeah. Sorry? Idara, okay. Okay. So Idara's question is like, can I start my cover letter with something striking about me? The answer is no. Stick to the structure. Start your cover letter with the introduction. But that thing that's striking about you, make sure it is written in what? Why you. Very good. The thing is that people will read the cover letter, right? They will read it. That's why they usually give you a maximum word limit. It's like, okay, maximum of 250 words. So it's a volume that like the person can easily read or digest. Okay? Any other question? Sunan, any question online? No question online? No questions here? So are we clear on CVs and we're clear on cover letters? So I think the next assignment is like everybody needs to write, using this information, should then write their own CV and cover letter, and then that's going to be reviewed, okay? The other things you need to watch out for: grammatical errors, spelling errors. Always do spell checks on your cover letter and CV, right? And always give it to other people to review for you. Many times if you've looked at the same thing 3-4 times, right, it's difficult to spot errors. But if you give it to someone else to read, they will find those kind of errors that you didn't spot. Okay? Yes. So the question is, what if I use American English or British English? Both of them are acceptable. The important thing is consistency. So if you start with, so don't spell color with COLOR in one part of your CV or cover letter, and then you're spelling what else? Favor with F. And you're spelling favor with, well, okay, yeah. You're spelling favor with FAVOUR. You understand what I'm saying? Or FAVOUR. Consistency is what's important, okay? But both are either acceptable. Any other questions? Are we good? All right, all the best, guys. It was nice having you around. Enjoy the rest of the classes. See you again next time.